What's going on, guys? Killer6, and we got our first look today at the new Flak skill tree, and I'm going to go over this step by step with you guys so you can see what it does, how to use it most effectively, and what I think some good skills are, what I think some of the not so great skills are. Now, before we get into the actual build, I want to point something out to everybody, because this is going to be available to everybody when this content drops. You do not have to buy the DLC to get this. So this is really exciting. Mayhem 11 is here, boys. You can enable Mayhem 11 to disable all the modifiers. It'll be identical to Mayhem 10 in terms of the health, armor, and shield of enemies, but your rewards are cut in half, it says. That said, I still get world drops like crazy, so I don't think it's quite half. You're still going to get a lot of cool stuff, and this gets rid of the freaking stupid death skulls. It gets rid of buddy systems. All that annoying stuff is gone. Mayhem 11 is here, and I freaking love it. All right, let's get into the actual build now. So let's start things off by talking about the action skill itself. It's called Gravity Snare. Flak tosses out a trap that knocks enemies up into the air, temporarily stuns nearby enemies, and after being deployed, the trap will periodically continue to knock up and stun enemies for the duration. Now, the wording on that is kind of funky if you ask me. I don't want to knock up enemies, because then I gotta pay for the kids. Anyhow, you can also pick up the trap by pressing square if you're on PlayStation controller. If you're on PC, it's E to pick up the trap. I'm not sure what that would be on Xbox controller. Anyhow, you can pick up your trap, and that will refund a portion of the remaining duration. Now, the good thing about that is you can use this thing for action skill start. You can use it for action skill end, and the cool thing is as well that you can pair this with the skill head count. So whenever Flak is scoring critical hits, you're going to get your cooldown back really fast. And if you're using multi-pellet guns, like for example the Hellwalker or the Monarch or the Maggie or Skullmaster, any of these things is going to hit enemies a lot with a lot of crits, then you're going to get your action skill cooldown back real dang fast. Up next, let's talk about the pet, the Ion Loader pet, or as I like to call him, the Loader Bro. Flak is joined by a loyal Loader Bro companion armed with a shock sniper rifle and homing shock orbs that can be shot to trigger a shock nova. That was a lot of words. While accompanied by the Ion Loader, Flak gains increased elemental damage resistance. Hold L1 to issue an attack command, which causes the Ion Loader to fire a powerful eye laser at the enemy. This gives you 30% elemental resistance having him equipped. And we'll cover the other iterations of the Loader Bro as we go down the tree. All right, so let's talk about the actual skills. Up first, we got a Sonic the Hedgehog reference, gotta go fast. Flak's pet gains increased movement speed and damage, and this is probably one that you're going to want to have if you're doing a pet heavy build or a pet centric build where you want the pet to go around and do all the work for you. You're going to want to have that. Otherwise, for me, it's not that important. However, the pet movement speed could be extremely important because he is a very, very slow companion. We'll go over that a little bit more here in a moment. Up next, we got Success Imminent. Whenever Flak or their pet shield breaks or is filled, they and their pet cause a radiation nova. This skill has a short cooldown. So this one's really cool. Anytime your shield breaks, it's going to basically turn all of your shields, no matter what they are, into a nova shield. So obviously, if you're wearing a nova shield, this isn't as important. However, if you're rocking, say, a nova burner that does a fire nova every time, then this gives you an additional nova of radiation. So pretty cool little skill there right at the top of the tree. Up next, agility training. Flak and their pet gain increased reload speed. This boosts your reload speed by as much as 40% if you max it out. So just extra reload speed there. Throat Ripper is the next skill up. Hunter skill. Flak's pets have a chance to score a critical hit, dealing increased damage. If you max this thing out, I do believe it's 25% at max. Up next, we got Combat Veterinarian. Whenever Flak shoots the same enemy that their pet is attacking, Flak's pet gains a portion of that damage back as health, and that is 30% of damage dealt as a lifesteal for your pet. Up next, Better Toys. Flak and their pet gain increased shield recharge rate and improved shield recharge delay. Up next, we got Lethal Force Authorized. Whenever your Loader Bro would go into fight for its life, it turns into an exploder instead and seeks out nearby enemies before self-destructing, dealing damage to all nearby enemies. Flak's pet's respawn time is also cut in half when you use this 1-point skill. Up next, we got Take This. Flak's pet gains a copy of your shield. So if you're rocking, again, if you're rocking any kind of like a Nova shield, then your pet, when their shield gets broke, will do a Nova as well. This can also be used with, say, like an amp shield, so that whenever your pet is shooting, they will get amp damage, or a Rico shield, so that whenever your pet gets shot, it will reflect bullets back. Now, in my case, I'm using the stopgap shield, so whenever my shield breaks, I will be immune to all damage for 5 seconds. And whenever I pop my action skill, that gives me another 5 seconds of immunity as well. Up next, we got Monkey Do. Flak's pet gains increased critical damage. Whenever Flak's pet scores a critical hit, Flak's next shot deals bonus damage based on their weapon's damage. Now, this one, the pet will get 70% extra bonus critical hit damage, and Flak will get 70% of weapon damage on that next shot as bonus damage as well. Up next, Woolly Armor. While Flak's shields are full, their pet gains damage reduction. The pet damage reduction is 75%. And we're going to talk about why this works really well here in just a second when we get down to this next level of skills. Up next, Not Even a Challenge. Whenever Flak's pet kills an enemy, Flak gains increased action skill duration and action skill cooldown rate for a short time, and this effect stacks. Now again, if you're using head count, then this skill right here just is not really worth having in my opinion, because you're going to get your cooldown back so fast that there's really no point in this one. Now, the one thing that I will say about this one is it will be good for action skill duration, obviously, but I don't see myself keeping the trap down that long. I like to pick it up, move it, because not too many enemies are just going to come over there and stand in your trap, you know what I mean? Up next, we got Fuzzy Math. Whenever Flak or their pet scores a critical hit, a portion of Flak and their pet shields are restored. And this is, again, really good, especially when paired with Mega Vor, which gives you critical hits on any part of an enemy's body, and head count, which gives you action skill cooldown on critical hits. You pair those things and you can see how you can keep your shield up really well. And again, that goes great with this Woolly Armor, so your pet's getting damage reduction because you're keeping your shields up just by shooting things. So high fire rate weapons like the Light Show and the Monarch are great for this, because you're going to basically keep your shield up almost non-stop. And then anytime an enemy busts your shield, if you're using, again, the stopgap, then that's another 5 seconds of immunity once that happens as well. Up next, Keep Them Safe. Whenever Flak issues an attack command, if Flak or their pet shield is less than half full, a portion of Flak and their pet shields are restored. This skill has a short cooldown. So all you got to do is point at an enemy for your pet, and that's going to give you up to 50% of your shields back. If you have 5 points on this thing, it maxes out at 50%. If you're doing fuzzy math and you have a high fire rate weapon, then I don't think you even need to bother with points in this. Finally, the capstone in this tree is Capacitance. Whenever Flak activates their action skill, they gain greatly increased shield capacity for a short time and immediately begin recharging their shields. This skill has a short cooldown. The capacity will be increased by 100%, the duration is 16 seconds, and the cooldown is 16 seconds as well. Now, the reason that I don't want to use this capstone is, again, I want my shield to break so I get that immunity, and then I want to be able to refill it quickly with my gun so that I can use it again. So for me, that skill is just not something that I really would want to bother with. But, you know, depending on your build, you really want to have that really huge shield. Maybe you're doing a URAD build. If you're doing a URAD build, this might be really awesome. But personally, I'm not doing that with my build, so it doesn't work for me. All right, let's cover the augments now. Up first, Forage. Whenever an enemy trapped by Flak is knocked into the air, they drop ammo, health boosters, and shield boosters. This skill is, in my opinion, a must-have augment for this tree. It's just that damn good. Up next, Wide Net. Flak's trap gains increased duration and increased radius, and this one's really good too, because again, the more enemies that you can trap and keep bouncing up in the air, the better. Up next, we got Trap Card. If Flak would go into Fight for Your Life while their trap is readied, they automatically throw a trap at the enemy that downed them. In my opinion, not super useful. Maybe some of you are like, oh, that's perfect for my playstyle. Not me. My idea is to stay out of Fight for My Life as much as possible, and if I do go into Fight for My Life, throwing a trap isn't really going to help me because it's going to be bouncing enemies around a little bit. It will hold them in spot for a second or two, but then it tends to like bounce them around, which is going to make it harder for you to hit your shots to get out of Fight for Your Life, in my opinion. I'm just not into this one that much. And then finally, Blind with Anger. Flak's trap no longer knocks up or stuns enemies. And again, knocks up is such a weird way to phrase that. Instead, the trap confuses nearby enemies, causing them to attack their allies for a short time. Once deployed, the trap continues to periodically confuse enemies for the duration. I am not a big fan of the whole confusing enemies thing. I can see how people would like to do that. And also, I should point out that if you're using blind with anger and using forage, I don't know how that's supposed to work together, because this one, they no longer knock up or stun enemies. It just confuses them. So then you no longer get the boosters, the health and shield boosters, and you no longer get ammo because they're no longer knocked in the air, because you absolutely can pair those two, as you can see. Boom, just like that. So personally, I like to stick with these two. I feel like these two are the best combo for this tree, in my opinion. All right, now let's cover the other iterations of the loader. You can use a bull loader. This will upgrade your ion loader into a bull loader, discarding its sniper rifle and equipping a shotgun. The bull loader also gains increased damage resistance and powerful roundhouse melee attack. While accompanied by the bull loader, Flak's shield capacity is increased. I really like this one. The problem is, if you're using the trap and you're knocking enemies up in the air, sometimes the bull loader, when you issue an attack command, he will just roll right underneath of people that are trapped and like knocked up in the air, so you can't do damage with him. That said, he's great to issue an attack command with him on enemies that aren't affected by the trap. If you've trapped a bunch of enemies and you're in there working on them, killing them, picking up your boosters and all that, issue your attack command on somebody that's outside of the radius of that trap, and then he'll just run over them, and he does a lot of damage in that iteration as well. The other option is the war loader. Flak's ion loader upgrades into a war loader, discarding a sniper rifle and equipping an incendiary shotgun and grenades. While accompanied by the war loader, Flak gains increased fire rate. Whenever Flak issues an attack command, the warloader unleashes a barrage of missiles at the target. Now, the problem with this is if you issue this attack command and there is any obstacle between you and if there's any obstacle between the loader and the enemy, the loader doesn't seem to understand, and it will just shoot a wall, it'll shoot a ceiling. It's not the most ideal one. Fire rate's pretty great, and again, that works really well in conjunction with fuzzy math because you can get your shields back quicker. But I'm going to go ahead and say that I think that the bull loader is probably the best option. That, or just stick with the default ion loader. Bull loader, again, is just really good, and it's a little more in the action most of the time for you. So that's what I would recommend. So let's jump into the takedown here, the Malawan takedown, and see what we can do. All right, bull loader, let's go. So first things first, I'm going to issue an attack command down here from my bull loader. One thing to note about the bull loader is he's very slow. So if you need him to come do something, pop your attack command and wait for him to get down here. As you can see, he didn't do that much damage there. Sometimes his damage is better than others. You can see we can keep our shield maxed out pretty good here. And then if somebody busts my shield, then I'm immune for 5 seconds. And in that 5 seconds, I can restack up my shield for that as well. Now, if you issue an attack command on somebody that's up high, he's just going to shoot at him. It doesn't seem like he wants to try and do any actual damage to them, but I don't know, man. Yeah, I mean, he took care of the enemy by shooting at him for me, so I give him that. But he's not going to actually, you know, do anything like run up the wall and charge at him for you, unfortunately. So you can see we get our action skill back really quick, doing the build the way that we've done it here. And landing crits is really easy. So let's try another attack command on this guy. And this time I'm just going to use a Maggie to whittle him down. The loader's just not doing anything to guys that are up in the air. So you might as well just forget about that and not even bother. So let's run into here, see what we can do in this area. Let's go and pop our action skill, get a gravity snare going here. Get our Monarch out, do some damage, keeping our shield up basically non-stop with this thing. It's pretty ridiculous. It's pretty ridiculous. And then again, even if your shield breaks, then that's a good thing because then you're immune for 5 seconds. Let's let it happen here. So as you see, for 5 seconds now, any damage that comes at me is completely a moot point. And then if I'm really good with my shots and get my shield back up in that time, then we're good. But I can also get my gravity snare going at the same time, so enemies can't even hit me. As you can see, now I've got my shield back up, and if it busts again, then I will have another 5 seconds of immunity. This is a great way for Flak to basically stay invincible all the time. It's pretty damn good. And again, anytime you want, if say you're moving forward in an area, you can pick up your gravity snare and take it with you. And again, if you're hitting crits after that, then head count's going to help you get your gravity snare back up even faster. If this guy wouldn't run away. And there we go. Gravity snare's back up. Just like that. Go off the rest of these dudes. Let's issue an attack command on this guy. And as you can see, obstacle in the way. Loader Bro is very confused and just runs into the box. So the AI on Loader Bro leaves a little bit to be desired at times, but I guess the same can be said of all of your pets. They're not always the smartest, but you know, that's kind of how it goes when you have to depend on pets to do things. All right, so let's run forward here. And they busted up our shield, so I'm invincible for 5 seconds, and in that time, I'm going to try and get my shield back up to full. Ooh, I took a lot of damage there, man. I took too much damage that time. I'm not even sure what hit. Oh, I think there was a barrel beside me. So let's issue an attack command on this guy and see if Loader Bro, boom, he just comes over and blasts him into the air, dude. Oh man, I think he knocked him. Oh, he knocked him through the floor. Okay, that's great. All right, so gravity snare won't do anything against things like the Kraken, but you know, takes care of the other enemies nearby, and then we can just go in here and do work. So yeah, this the new skill tree is kind of cool, man. Like, it's different. It gives you a different way to play flak than before, at least a little bit different, you know what I mean? So gives you some options. Let's see if Loader Bro will hit this guy. Come on, bulldoze up, dude. Bulldoze up and get him. Don't be scared, homie. There he goes. Boom, he missed. The whole pet thing. I don't know, dude. I'm not great at getting them to do what I want most of the time anyhow, but Loader Bro is definitely kind of a not the smartest bot in the shop, you know what I mean? He's not the smartest bot out there. So yeah, this build does well. You can go do the takedowns and do all that fun stuff. And again, you know, make sure you have a good high fire rate weapon like a Light Show, Monarch. The Hellwalker is a lot of fun right now. Maggie, Lucky 7. There's so many good options out there that you can make use of. Even try some other things that maybe you don't expect to work that well, and you might be surprised. So there you guys have it. That is the first look at the new flak skill tree, guys. I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, make sure you hit that like button, hit subscribe, tap the bell icon to be notified when I post a new video. Let me know down in the comment section below what skills are most intriguing to you. What kind of cool combinations do you think might work that maybe I didn't cover in this video? Let me know that in the comments as well. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Y'all have a great day.